Hey, what's up? It's Joe back with a TypeScript video. This video is going to go from beginner to intermediate. Definitely won't touch on anything advanced. At least I don't think it will. But with that being said, if you're liking these videos, go ahead and subscribe and do not forget to hit that bell to get those notifications so you're not missing out on all of my latest videos. So what are we going to do today? We're going to install Node. We're going to install TypeScript globally. We're going to look at some basic variable types, some template strings, enums, interfaces, classes, inheritance, type assertions, type guards, import, and export. Now, if none of that made sense to you, you're definitely in the right place because I'm going to teach it to you. So let's just go ahead and get that started. So what you need to do is install Node. Node you can get from Node.js.org. What do you need this for? Node is actually going to run the JavaScript file, as well as Node is going to install npm, which is a package manager that you're going to need to install TypeScript. And the editor that I use is actually Vim, but you can use Visual Studio Code, which is really easy to get up and running. Just download it and it's just going to work. With Vim, you have to do some other settings to get everything working correctly, and that's kind of outside of the scope of this video. But I will release a video soon to discuss how I have my workflow set up and how I get Vim working for me and all that good stuff. And Visual Studio Code does have a Vim plugin, by the way, if you didn't want to use Vim with Visual Studio Code. I don't remember the actual name, but there's a plugin along with many other plugins. So, and it's free, and it's pretty good. I just like Vim better. So now that we went through that, so let's say, for instance, we came in here, right? And we came in here and we installed Node. So I can say node-v, because now we just went in there and installed Node from node.js.org. We can look at the version of Node that we have. We can also look at the version of npm that we have, because npm gets installed with Node. Okay? So once you get that stuff, you will need to install TypeScript. So the easiest way, I think, is just to go ahead and install it globally. And then once you do that, for me, it's going to ask for me to do the sudo, which I already have it installed on here anyway. But it's basically just telling me that I just reinstalled it. And then once I get TypeScript installed, again, this is command. You probably won't need sudo, depending on what you're on. Like if you're on a Mac OS and Linux, you probably will need sudo. But for everything else, it's probably just npm install -g TypeScript. Okay. So once you do that, you can check the version that you have of TypeScript. Currently, I think the latest version is 3.8.3 because I just installed it. I'm not sure which version you would have when you install this. Kind of depends on when you're watching this video. So it's probably not going to be the same, but more than likely, whatever you have should work. Unless by some chance you have like some really like old TypeScript, and maybe it won't work, but it probably still will work. I don't know, but just get the current version and you should be fine. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? Let's start with just the any type. Let's say we're going to talk about some variable types. So let's just say let name, let's just say string any equals something, right? So this is saying that let in const is already in JavaScript. If you don't know that, it's just how you declare variables, and they're scope variables. Basically meaning that like they're just in scope of whatever you have it in. With regular JavaScript, before they start releasing like ES6 and later, scoping variables was really weird, and it just was like stuff just did weird stuff. But now stuff works the way you would probably expect it to if you've done other programming languages like .NET, Java, and stuff like that. Okay, so we're just saying here let str is the name of my variable, and then any is the type, because any is a type. So this type any is more closely related to what you use in JavaScript. It doesn't really care what it is. Like I can set it to a string, and I can come back and set it to a number, and this would actually work if I just say str. So before I run this, let me just do a mapping here. Okay, so I'll tell you what this does in a second. Let's say tsc index.ts and node index.js, and then crash return. Okay, so what this does is I'm just doing a mapping because I'm on Vim, which is what I love. So I do comma n. That's just gonna whenever I do comma n, it's gonna run all of these commands. So comma s is a different mapping that I have in Vim that saves my files. And this is going to let me start doing the other stuff. So tsc index.ts is the compiler that we downloaded when we downloaded, we did the npm install globally TypeScript. That's the tsc. So it's going to take that ts file and actually compile it down to JavaScript. And then once it gets that compiled down to JavaScript, it's going to say use Node to actually run that JavaScript file, which is what it's doing here. So if you are just using like regular stuff, you probably just be able to use just tsc index.ts to compile it, and then node index.js to run it. Okay, I just like shortcuts. And now if I do comma n, it's going to do some stuff, and then it ran it. As you can see, it has a 45. And before we get too far, just to show you that it created this JavaScript file, is you see here. Disregard this down here because some ESLint stuff I have, and I didn't set it up correctly for this. So just disregard all that red. I know it looks bad. So as you can see, like these two files looks a little bit different. Okay. So you have that string is 45 console.log. Here you have let. And then what is this telling me? Cannot redeclare a block scope variable. Let me just do something here. I think this is why I'm getting this error. Okay, so basically what was happening is it was like looking in this file too, and then looking in this file, so it was causing errors. So when you're doing, I'll go into exports later on down the line, but I just put this here so it's actually known that this is just one module and all of my code is in here. I'll explain that more later on when I get to that part. And also one more thing I want to do, because just for I just love shortcuts so much, is instead of doing console.log, I just prefer to just do log. And let's just run this one more time, and we will see that we get the same number. Okay, so now we're ready to like really get started and really get moving. Okay, so now I have any. Any can be anything, but see, this could be bad. Like you had a string and then you set it to a number. So think of like a big code base, and you end up like setting stuff to different types. That's horrible. Like you don't want to do that. So a way to get around that is when you use TypeScript, is you say, okay, no, this is a string. It's just a string, and it's always going to be a string. Then when you do stuff like this, it gives you an error. Type 45 is not assignable to type string. And if I try to run it, I'm also going to get an error. See, type 45 is not assignable to type string. Okay, so you can start catching errors at compile time rather than catching errors at runtime. So this will also, well, if I do this, of course, this is fine because now I just set it to a different string, as you can see. So that's the string type. So say, for instance, I did this to a number. Let's just do a different one. Okay. Oops, that's okay. And let's just first just control do that. So the 444 ran. As you can see, it also gives you more information. It's saying string is declared, but its value is never used. So basically, if that's declared, I'm never using it. Why do I have it there? Take it out. Okay. So if I try to set this num to like a string, I'm going to get an error again, similar to the one we got last time. Type blah, blah, blah is not assignable to type number. So you can't just reset it. And so if I try to run it just to show you, it's going to give the error again. So that's the string and number types. So you can also do arrays. So you can do arrays in two different ways. This is probably what most of you are used to, like this kind of array. So as you can see, I'm getting an error here because it's saying num type 444 is not assignable to type number, which is brackets, which means arrays. So what I can do is say, turn it into an array, right? So now that error is gone, and when I run it, everything is fine. Like it gives me the array. So what I probably should do is just call this nums, because it makes way more sense. And then now that I'm here, I can say more numbers. Okay. If I run it, it gives me the array, which is an array of numbers, because this is what this means, an array of numbers. So there's another way you can do this and just say array. I'm messing up now. Okay, so you can do it that way too, which actually is just the same thing. Come on. Okay, so it's the same thing. So say for instance, let's just do this too, because you need to see all that right now. So say for instance, I had this array and I did that, right? So now you mix a string with an array. That is not going to work because this is an array of numbers. Okay, So it's going to say, it's going to show me my error here or not. Oh, I guess I got to put it here. Yeah. So it's going to say type string is not assignable to type number. So it's going to give it an error there. And if you run it, it will give you the same error again. So that just wouldn't work. So it just, you can start seeing that it's like giving you all this help. So I can even do something like this and then put in some more strings, and then that's fine. Even though it says enums, but I actually have strings. Probably should change the name to like str or something. But then that's fine. But let's say, for instance, I did want to have a type that has like mixed types, like a string and a number. Those are called tuples. So what you can do is say, I can just call it mixed types. And I can just say it's going to be of type string and type number. And then I can say this. So this is like my mixed types. I can say something like that and 44. And now if I were to run this, if I run this, you will see it gets the string and the number. So this is how you set mixed types. But the only thing with tuples is like they're set. You can't change it later. So I can't go in and put like, I can't do this. Like it has to match. I can't do that. And I'll put more than what's allowed. So say for instance, I put this, it's going to give me an error, which is good because it's telling you type number is not assignable to type string. So that should be a string. And here it's saying type string is not assignable to type number. So it's telling you all of this extra information, okay? And if you try to run it, it will give you the same error again. So you can also do different things like, let's say for instance, I wanted to have something that's undefined. So we can say number string equals undefined. So undefined is fine, right? So undefined you can actually use on any type because a type could be undefined, okay? Meaning it doesn't have a value yet. So this is actually valid TypeScript. Like that's good. That's good. It's just going to show it's undefined. You can also do the same as null and then run it, and that's valid. As you can see, it's going to pop up in a second. And then once you get here, you can actually end up setting it to a string. Actually, it should be number. What am I doing here? So just call this num. This should be number, just to make more sense. And then this should be that. And then this should be. Oh, come on. Sometimes when I'm like typing and recording, like I just get all like confused and just messing up keys. But I'm like a really good typer. It's just so weird when I record myself, I start doing crazy stuff. So like this, right? So we can say num equals 45. So this is also valid. So you can, that's one difference. You can have a type and set it to null or undefined, and then later on down the line set it to whatever the type it is, because each type can be null or undefined. That will work for arrays as well, and other types. So what else do we have that we want to go over, right? So we know some types. So let's talk about some template strings. So let's just clear this for a second. What am I doing? All right, that's all I want to do. Let's just put this at the top again. Okay, so say for instance we had something like const first name equals Joe, and const age equals 40. Then once we do that, what are we doing here? Oh yeah, so I'm just waiting for that to clear up because like, why is it still red? So it's just telling me that none of this stuff is used yet. Okay. So with template strings, you can use something like this. So I can say log, and then template strings you can use with a tilde. That is right by the 1 key. Actually, it's not called a tilde. What? I don't even know what that key is called, but this, I don't know what it's called. I should know, but I can't remember what it's called. So you do that, and you can say like something like, "Hi, my name is," and then you can do something like this, and my age is age, and then close it. So now it says, "Hi, my name is," what am I doing here? Did I do that wrong? Template strings, I have that open, I have that close. forgot. Yeah. So yeah, so hi, my name is Joe and my age is 40. Sorry, I've got so many languages in my head. I forgot to put the $sign. So you can start doing stuff like that. You can like build your whole like string like using different things. And I can also just keep on going and like add more stuff, and it's fine. It'll work. Okay. Just gonna show all that other stuff. All right. So what else do we want to cover? Right now we're at 15 minutes. Got 30 minutes left. We can do this. I got this. So let's discuss enums, okay? So let's just say enum, let's just say, what can an enum be? Days, I don't know. And we're just gonna say Monday equals 1, Tuesday equals 2. Actually, I did the wrong thing. And Wednesday equals 3. Why is it not? Told you I got so many languages in my head. It's good to see that you see it. Like I make mistakes. I make mistakes a lot. Okay, so let's just put this at the top so we're not confused with all that other stuff. So enum is what you're gonna use when you want to have stuff where you don't want to have it like a string. So basically what I'm saying is like if I did log days dot Monday. So say for instance like that represented 1. So I can do like you can run it. And it's gonna give you that 1. So maybe that's probably not a good one. So let's say if I did actually make more sense. So let's say it actually said Monday, okay? And then this said Tuesday, which I can't type again. Come on. What am I doing? Nah, see, my hands are going crazy. I don't know why that happens. All right, so, and then we're just gonna say, all right. So now when we do this, it's gonna give us a, what's wrong? Sorry, I had a extra. What was wrong there? I didn't know what was wrong there because everything works fine. So it's a Monday, okay? So say for instance, like you have something in your code base and you want it to actually have it print Monday. You don't want to have this in your code, like you're logging out Monday for something, or you're doing some if and you're testing to see like if you're doing something like this, like if day equals Monday. Like you don't want to do that. What you would rather do is say if day equals days dot Monday. So now you don't have to worry about like, you know, writing that string out. You can just use it, and this is like way better and way less issues down the line. Okay, hopefully that made sense. Like you can just use it like that instead of writing the string out. Okay, so what else do we want to go over? We did enum, so let's talk about an interface. Okay, so let's just move that out of the way. So let's say we have an interface, and we're just gonna call our interface just call it string nums. These names I come up with like are horrible, I know. Interface strings num. Okay, and we're gonna say this interface can have a first name, and that's gonna be a string, and then it's gonna say age, and that's gonna be a number. Okay, let's call this person. Let's say I person. This represents an interface for a person. It's gonna have a first name and an age. So now what we can do is say const p, or just say person, and call it a person. And let's say we try to do something like this. This is going to give an error. See? Because what it's expecting is, let me just move this for a second. Actually, I can just move this up. Let's just do this. So I don't mess up my other part. So what it's expecting is the person is declared, but this value is never read. Well, not that one. Cannot find, I person. All right, so it should be a different error here now. Type is not assignable to type I person, okay? Because the I person should be in this format. It should be a first name string and an age number. So what I can do is if I said first name Joe again, and then age equals 40, why am I messing up here? Age 40. So, all right, so that's fine. So you can see that that red went away. Only thing it's saying is I haven't used it yet. So now if I do log person and then run it, all of my errors went away. And I'm logging my person. First name Joe, last name age is 40. Okay. So that shows you how you can like kind of build out your own like different types to be able to use. They also have a keyword called type, which you can do kind of like the same thing. So I can say type person equals iPerson. Okay. So now if I take this off, it does the same thing. So I just created a type called iPerson. But what if I wanted a type that could be this and then iPerson2 or something? And then I can say last name string. Okay. Okay, so it's telling me that last name hasn't been used. Well, iPerson2 hasn't been used yet. So you can do this. So I can do a type and say I want it to be a person, iPerson or a person2. So now if I was to come in here and put this as last name, that's fine. So I'll change this to Benjamin. Okay. So that works. It lets me know that that type is fine. But if I was to take this back off, I'm going to get an error because it doesn't know about last name because I took off iPerson2. So this person type is only looking for iPerson, which iPerson has first name and age, but here I has the last name. So as you can see, as you start going on and on, you kind of see how like having types can save you a lot of different errors. You can catch so many different things. As it says here, last name string, age number is not assignable to type iPerson. Object literal may not specify known properties, and last name does not exist in type iPerson. Okay, which makes perfect sense. But if I go back to what it was, that error went away, and now I can use iPerson. We'll use last name. Okay. So what else we want to talk about? Excuse me. Let's talk about classes. So let's say I have a class, and let's just call this class what I want to call it. Let's say it's called person. You know, while I'm with this person thing. And let's say we have a constructor, and we're just gonna say public first name, it's gonna be a string, and public age is gonna be a number. So basically what this does is it actually, this is not really TypeScript related because I think JavaScript has this now as well, depending on which version you have. It's just going to create a constructor, and when they pass in the first name and the age, so it's going to set the first name and age of that object to it. So now if I did something like this, let's just put this up and oops. Let's just say constant p equals new person, and then we're going to give it a first name as Joe, and then the age we're going to put 40. Okay, so that went away, and just to say log p. Okay, so now we're logging p. As you can see, it has the first name is Joe and the age is 40. Okay, so what if I said that I wanted to create a new person, but I made a mistake and I put these backwards? Gonna get an error, can't do that. Why? Because again, types is gonna save you. Argument of type 40 is not assignable to parameter of type string. So it saves you so much headaches. Like you can just fix a lot of stuff. And you can also, let's see, we went over like how types work with classes. Inheritance is not really based on TypeScript, but just so I can just, actually no, this should all be all about types. So I'm just gonna skip or I'll just go over inheritance really quick, just so you can see, but it's not really based on TypeScript because JavaScript has it too. So I can just say class, Joe person, I don't know, extends person. And then when I extend it, I can say constructor public first name. Let's say Joe last name something. This is horrible naming. I know it is. Oops. Let me do that. Come on. And then, oh, actually we need to do this because I need to call super. Public Joe last name, and I might want to do that to make it better. Okay, and then super expects 2 arguments. So now I'm extending the person. So here I have my Joe last name. So what I probably also want to do is pass in the first name. And also the age. I just keep it in the same way, so it makes more sense. And then what I'll do here is just say super is going to call first name, and then the age, we're just going to pass it down. So what is this doing, right? So it's saying I'm taking a constructor for Joe person, and then the super is the initial class, like the main class that I'm extending. I'm passing that down. So now when I do, let's just get, this is say Joe person. Okay. So now it's giving me an error because it expected 3 arguments, but I got 2. So again, there's your typings. And so I have the Joe and I have the 40 and then the last name Benjamin. Okay. So now if I log P, why isn't it logging? What is going on here? It's giving me an error, but I don't know what. Person, class Joe person, it sends person, constructor. I got those constructors. I did this super. P equals, let's just say something. P first name and then age. Oh, did I spell something wrong here? Sorry, I had first name with a capital N and just do everything off. I do make mistakes. Like I'm nowhere near like the perfect coder. Like I make a lot of mistakes, but Typescript helps me out, as you can see. Well, and not for that particular case because it didn't catch it, but it catches a lot of stuff. So as you can see, the Joe person has the first name Joe, age 40, and Joe last name is Benjamin. So it's just like different things. It just helps you out with the types. So let's say, for instance, you did all that, and now you want to have some kind of like type assertions. So what am I? Well, let me do that. So what do I mean there? Okay. So let's say you have a. Let me think. Okay, I got it. So let's say you have something like this, right? So let's say you have let data, and we're going to say this can be a string or a number, okay? And we're just going to just set it to a number for now. Because remember, we can use this thing here to represent it can be either one, a string or a number, okay? So let's say we did something like, we had a function, and we're just going to call it print data. So we're going to say function print data. And then this function is going to probably want to take in the data. And this is also going to be a string or a number. And then what we're going to say is if type of data equals to string. And then we're going to say data. I'm going to go through this in a second. So data dot, we're just going to reverse the string. So data dot split, which if you have watched my tutorial on coding interview questions, I actually went over this actual example. So I'm just not going to really go through all of the code again, just going to just do it. So we're going to split it, and then we're going to reverse it, and then we're going to join it back. And then we're going to say else, and we're going to say data dot, I guess I should log that. Else, we're going to say log data plus 444 or something. Okay. So now if we say print data, oops, and we say print data, all the errors are gone. It's formatted it for me. Why is it not giving me what I want? Oh, I'm just messing up today. If type of data equal to string, I'm going to log data, so you have the log up there, and data.split.reverse.join. Okay, and then else, let's just do log data. Let's just say log data for now. Then we print data. So why didn't it like this? So data plus 444. Maybe I need to go ahead and just do a type of here. Type of data equals okay. So I had to put a type of data. I thought that would just work. I thought Typescript was a little bit smarter to know that since I'm doing an if and I only had a string or a number, that if I got down here, that it would know that it was a number. But I guess you still have to do the type of, which is fine. So what's happening here? So you're going in here, you're saying you're having a function, you're calling it print data. It can take a string or a number, which is what data has. So if it's saying type of data is equal to string, as you can see, you get all of the IntelliSense for the different string functions. So if, say for instance, I was in here and I tried to say something like, okay, say for down here, because type of data equal to number. So if you see, if I do the dot, like none of these string functions come into play. So I can't even do this. Like if I try to do data.split, I'm going to get an error because it knows that it's not a number. So it says property split does not exist on type number. Okay. And that would be the same like if I was up here and I tried to say dot to fix. I'm going to get an error. Property to fix does not exist on type string. Do you mean fix? So it's just like, it helps you out with so many different things. So that's kind of like what type assertions are. So you can kind of like play around with your types. Like have one that have a parameter that takes multiple types. Well, it could be multiple types. And then inside of your function, you can test for whatever type you want. And then you can get the IntelliSense inside of that type. You can't do that with JavaScript. There's just no way. So you have to have something like Typescript to be able to do that. And it's going to help you out with coding. So what else do I want to talk about? So let's talk about type assertions using like a class. Okay. So say for instance, let's just go with this to the top. So let's say I had class person. Again, just to say age is a number and first name. I don't know why I just could have just kept this because I'm writing all over again, right? As a string. And let's say we have another class as an animal, right? And we're going to say is person is type Boolean. Okay, like just true or false. Okay, so I have that, right? And then say I have this constant, I'll just say let. To say let, just call it data again. We're going to say it can be a person or an animal, and then we can just say equals new. Actually, let's do it this way so it makes more, it's easier to do. So let's just create a person. So let's say let p equals new person. We're just gonna say what am I doing? I need a constructor here. So let's just say fucking messing up here, my bad. Public age, I'm just gonna say number, and then public first name string. Just take that out. And public first, oh yeah, and I need this. And let's just do this, and then change this to is pet, and this is going to be a Boolean, and then we're just going to move all that out the way. And so now we say new person, we're going to say age is going to be 40, and then first name is going to be Joe again. I really just should have just left this because I already had all this code and I'm like typing it all the way over again. but that's fine. I'm still under my 45 minutes and I'm gonna make it. And let's say we have an animal, and I think don't really think I'm rushing. I feel like I'm going through everything. And so we're gonna say the animal is pet, we're just gonna say true, okay? And again, if I was to put something else here, I'm gonna get an error because it's expecting is pet to be a Boolean, and I can't just say a number. Okay, so I have to put it as true or false, whatever one you want. So now let's say I get in here and let's say I have a function called print data again. So let's say function print data, which I've already wrote this function, but that's fine. Just rewrite it again. Can't hurt. And I got this data, and let's just say it can be a person or a animal. Okay. So we have this data, it can be a person or an animal, and then we're going to say if data instance of person, then as you can see, we're going to get the IntelliSense. See, it's saying if it's an instance of person, I get the IntelliSense for person, first name and age. So I can just say log data.first name and log data.age. Okay. And I can say else if data instance of, and this time I'm going to say animal. Okay. And then I can say log data dot, see, now it just shows me it's pet. It doesn't show me the other stuff. So you can see the type assertions works for like just regular types and like class types that you can create. Okay. So what it's saying here is that I haven't used print. I thought I took that out. Did I leave that in here? Oh wow, I had all this up here. Why didn't nobody tell me? I could have been using that. Wow, that's fine. Delete all that. Okay, so we don't need that. We have the print data. So here we're creating the new stuff. So let's just say we're going to print data as P. Okay, let's just comment that out for now. And as you can see, it printed the Joe 40 because I printed the person data. And as you can see, it gave me IntelliSense when we were inside of here. And also, if I wanted to just do a D, oh, should change that to an actual A. As you can see, it's going to print the true, which I'm saying the animal is true. So one last thing that I think is very important, say for instance, you don't want to have to worry about writing this, like if data is instance of person, if data is instance of animal, like say this is used all throughout your code, you don't want to have to write that every time. So there's something called type guards. So the way that works is you can say like, let me think here. I can say function, let's say it's, just call it is person. And then this is person is going to take a data, and that's going to be a person or a animal, because we're going to be calling it down inside of here. So we don't know which one is using it. And then what it's going to return is a data is person. I think that's the way that works. And then what we can just say is say return, and then data as person dot first name not equal to undefined. Okay, so now when I get in here, instead of saying data instance of person, oops, I can just say is person and then put the data there. One more. Oops. Come on. All right. So as you can see here, it says the is person. So it's going to check and be like, okay, is person. I'm going to come in here. Data can be a person or an animal. And then if data is a person, it's going to return, well, it's going to return a data. It lets you know if data is a person. That's what it returns. So it's going to return true or false. So it's going to return data as person. So I'm casting it as a person. And if I have a dot first name property, then I know that it's a person. And if it's not equal to undefined, then I'm good. It's a person. Excuse me. So I can just say is person and that data. And as you can see here, just so you can see that it still gives you the IntelliSense, first name and age. Okay. And then I can do the same for here if I want to do like is animal. Let's say 3. All right. I'm just like yelling out VM stuff in my head, so disregard me. So I can just say is animal, right? In this case, we're gonna say, well, it still can be a person or an animal, but instead of is person returning to be the true or false Boolean value, we're gonna say data is animal, okay? And then here we're gonna change this to animal. And then here, it wouldn't be dot first name, it's gonna be is pet, because now we don't have a first name. As you can see, the IntelliSense just automatically knew. And then when I come down here, I don't have to say data.instance or data instance of animal. I can say is animal. And it gets passed in my data. And it works I keep forgetting that extra parenthesis. And it works the same way. And as you can see, if I was to take this off, it gives you the IntelliSense. And if I were to run this, it's still gonna work. Yeah. And if I were to go back and say, and then change this to P, it's gonna give me the person. So Joe 40. So I mean, that's basically like the main stuff that I think you need for TypeScript, and it just saves you so much headache, and you just do so much with it. So I would suggest you just start using TypeScript. If you're using JavaScript, why not use TypeScript? Businesses use it all the time. Oh yeah, one more thing I forgot is import export. Okay, so I did leave that out. So say for instance I wanted to do something like let's just add something here. Let's just say something.ts. Okay, and so in here I want to say oops. So let's just say constant say hello equals and then I also want to do one, just call it default say hello. Oh, come on, type. What am I doing? Okay, so I'm going to export two different things. So I'm going to export say hello. Actually, I'm going to export default as the default one. And then here I can just say export this. So what's happening here? I'm creating these functions, right, in this file called the something.ts. I'm exporting the say hello, which is just a function, and I'm exporting this other function, but I'm exporting it as default. So what does that mean? So now when I go into here, I can do something like this. I can say import, and I can say hello from something, because that's the name of my file, right? So say hello is that. So now if I come down here, let's just remove all this for now. Well, for good actually, because it's already done. So let's say if I wanted to say hello, right? You just remove this because we don't need it anymore. So now if I do this, it's pulling in that hello world from here. Like it's just, I'm able to use this function, so you can like split code up into different areas, so you don't have to have everything in one file. So it's easier to maintain stuff. Again, that's like a really simple example, because it gets way more complex than that. And then I can also say if I want to get the default one. The default one, I can give it any name. I can just say, this is my default. Because default just comes in as whatever, you can name it whatever you want, but for the regular ones that you export, it has to match the name. So you can say, this is my default. So I can come down here and just say, this is my default. And just so I can just comment this out so you can see that it's actually will work. Default say hello, and I can actually put it back and then run it. And then you're going to get the hello world and the default say hello. So that's pretty much the end of this tutorial, and I feel like this will help you learn TypeScript, and it's been under 45 minutes. I did it, and I hope that you learned something. Again, if you're liking these videos, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to get those notifications. And while you're at it, go back and watch my old videos, because I have a lot more going on. And until then, peace out.